I'm wrapping up this letter that I wrote you. Maybe it's the only way to cut through. I won't lose myself for anybody. I'm not sorry. Yeah. Though it hurts, I only wish you blessings. When intuition talks, you gotta listen. I won't lose myself for anybody. I'm not sorry. Yeah. 'Cause you build me up to break me down. Never respect the love you found. And I had a voice inside the back of my mind. I always knew it deep down. You don't deserve me, babe, I won't lie. Got no more tears to cry. Oh, no looking back this time. 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 Running from the truth was getting reckless. In your arms I never felt protected. Oh. 'Cause you don't deserve me, babe, I won't lie. Got no more tears to cry. Oh. No looking back this time. 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 No looking back this time.
Afternoon. I hope you are all well. I hope you're all well today. Got loads and loads to talk about. I wanted to do this show so I can basically have Saturday off. Kind of getting quite tired of talking about Liverpool and transfers right now, and especially with all of the craziness which is ongoing around Alexander Isak. I know it's Friday afternoon. I know people are probably busy, but I really appreciate the people who are tuning in. I wanted to go through a timeline of when this all started to where we are now. And I understand that the video says, the thumbnail says the truth. I mean, let's be honest. There's been so much stuff coming out from from Newcastle, from Isaac, from media, for pundits. Everybody's had their say on this. Everybody has been talking about this for so long. And I wanted to just break down where it all started, how it all started, what's real, what's bullshit, and where we are right now at this moment in time. Because I think enough's enough. And Eddie Howe said it today that it's coming to an end. And I just think enough's enough. Like, this guy just needs to find a new club. He needs to move away from Newcastle, who are just toxic. And all he wants to do really is have ambition and progress his career. At the end of the day, he's a 25-year-old Swedish international that's not even really the main player in the Swedish team right now because of Gyökeres. And he's done really well in the Premier League at a club which is punching above its weight. And he wants to go to a better club. And if you really break it down in the cold light of day, the way Newcastle have gone about this and the way Newcastle have treated him and the way Newcastle have been ran over the last year and a half, 2 years, do you blame him? Do you genuinely blame him for wanting out? And I wanted to cover quite a few things today. I wanted to go through where Isaac was when he joined Newcastle and where he seen Newcastle being, and then roll it all the way on to where we are now and the failures that have happened and the broken promises and all of the things which have been talked about with many media outlets on him, his ambition, the promises, Newcastle's ambition, and why those things weren't met and why he wants out. It's as simple as that. Look, at the end of the day, this isn't a case of Liverpool and Newcastle fighting over a player. This has got nothing to do with Liverpool. It really hasn't. What this has to do with is Newcastle not living up to the expectations and the promises and the ambition that the player expected from Newcastle and what Newcastle guaranteed that would happen for him and for their club. It's got nothing to do with Liverpool. Absolutely nothing. He expressed his wishes to leave Newcastle after we made a bid for Ekitike. It wasn't after we made a bid for Alexander Isak. He didn't express his wishes to leave Newcastle then. He did it before. So this was a case of he wanted to go before Liverpool made a bid. And this is the problem we have. Everybody is rewinding it the opposite way. Oh, Isak wanted to leave after Liverpool made a bid. No, that's not true. That's absolutely not true. That's not how it panned out. Liverpool didn't make a bid before Isak expressed his wishes to leave Newcastle. Liverpool made a bid after Isak expressed his wishes to leave Newcastle. And that's a totally different dynamic. That means something totally different. So don't twist it. Don't get it the other way around, because that's not true. Liverpool did everything that they're supposed to do. They didn't unsettle a player. They didn't make a crazy bid. They didn't do anything underhanded. There was no meeting Alexander Isak in Blackpool a year before. There was none of that stuff. I don't even know whether Arnie Slot's actually had a phone call with him, because that probably hasn't happened either yet. But they may well have spoken to his agent or an intermediary. That may well have happened. But guess what? You're allowed to do that. That's part of the system. That's part of the process. But it's all the other things that have led up to it, which is the situation we are in now, where Newcastle have a player who is their best player by some distance, and quite possibly a top 10 player in the world. Yeah. And he doesn't want to be at their club. And they won't let him leave. And they have castigated him, and they've spread malicious rumours and lies across every single media outlet to push this narrative that this guy is a trouble causer and this guy is the real problem. Newcastle haven't done anything wrong. All Newcastle have done have just been a club with their player. And this is totally untrue, because it's now being confirmed by Eddie Howe today. He had that conversation with Isaac, and Isaac told him that he wanted to leave. So this wasn't fake or false or rumours. This was fact. And if that was fact, then everything that Isaac has said and everything that has come out from his administration and his agents and the officials and whoever's been dealing with this process, and anybody who's been privy to any of the processes over the last couple of months, year, everything he has said will be true. And that's the reason why this guy wants to leave. Why would you make out that he's a liar and he's a problem and he's a trouble causer? Why would you do that to the guy when you know quite well that everything he's saying is true? Everything he's saying is true about the club. They didn't do this, they didn't do that. And I'll go into it in more detail. And for all of the pundits and media outlets saying, why would Liverpool want this guy? Why would they want someone with an attitude like that? What attitude? What attitude? He hasn't got an attitude. He's got no attitude whatsoever. The guy's training on his own because Newcastle don't want him near them. What attitude has Isaac got? Well, he's got the attitude that he wants to leave a club that's failing. He's got the attitude that he wants to leave a club that can't even keep their directors of football. He's got an attitude because he's seen the rift inside the club between the director of football and the manager. What? He's seen the rift in the fact that their own COO is not allowed to leave, even though he's got bone cancer and he's chronically ill. They still haven't found a replacement for him a year later. What? He's got a right to talk about the problems that are happening inside the club, and seeing the fact that Newcastle owners forced out Amanda Staveley and her husband, who basically got PIF, the ownership anyway. Like, really? Really? Alexander Isak's a problem, is he? What? The guy that's basically got you where you are. The guy who scored all the goals to win you your first trophy in 60 years and to get you in the Champions League 2 times in 3 years. Really? Is that how you treat your guy? Is that how you treat your players? Is that exactly how you treat your players when you've got a guy that's just scored 27 goals and wanted a new contract because he deserved one, and you gave Anthony Gordon a bumper deal instead and told him to wait in line because he had 3 years left? Is that how you treat your players? Is that how you treat your staff? Really? Well, if you're asking me straight up, does Alexander Isak need to leave? 100% he needs to leave. 100% he needs to leave. Because if I was sat in that club and I knew what was going on all around me for the last 2-3 years, I'd want out as well. I'd want out as well. The manager gave the club an ultimatum. You either get rid of the director of football or I will leave. Guess who walked? The director of football. Guess who they don't have in place now? A director of football. Are we seeing something that happened to us with Jurgen Klopp? Yes, we are. When a manager has been given too much power because his owners trust him unequivocally, because they think the water walks. They think that Eddie Howe walks on water, PIF. And they think he is the best thing they can get. And they fully supported him. And that's why 2 director of footballs down are gone. Their transfer policy is up in smoke. They tried repeatedly to sign strikers to replace Isaac because they knew Isaac was leaving, because he told them, just like he did in his statement. But they still refuse to admit it. The club hasn't admitted it. Eddie Howe's came out and said today in his press conference, I had that conversation with Isaac. He told me he wanted to leave. The truth is out. And Eddie Howe said it's all going to be overseen. The way this has been dealt with has been a utter shit show from start to finish, and it's got nothing to do with Liverpool. Absolutely zero to do with Liverpool. And somebody needs to call this out now. Somebody needs to sit down and work out where this went wrong, why this went wrong, and how they move forward. Because this all hinges on how Liverpool go on this season. Because this guy is our plan A, B, C, and D. We don't have anybody else that we want to fit into that number 9 role than Alexander Isak. We haven't looked anywhere else. This is the one. This is the unicorn. This is the player that takes us to another level. Everybody at the club sees it. Everybody at Liverpool sees it and wants this. I mean, even Virgil van Dijk's come out and said it. Our captain. This is the one. This is the deal that has to get over the line. And it's not going to get over the line if Newcastle don't sort their own house out. And right now, they haven't. They haven't offered enough money for Strand Larsen. That's been reported. They're still 5 million short on him. They won't stump up the cash for Visser, and Visser's now gone back into training to be integrated back into the team. Like, why didn't they just get Jackson done? Like, it came out last month that there was a possibility that Chelsea would sell him. Put up the money. Pay the piper. Like, why are you arsing around? Like, get the job done. Like, Victor Boniface has just gone to AC Milan on loan. Like, Newcastle, you couldn't have signed him. Victor Boniface is a perfect replacement. He's a bagsman. I wanted him at Liverpool. Like, Boniface is a bagsman and he will be at AC Milan. And he didn't even go for him. You went for every single player that you knew you weren't going to get. Like, over and over again. And now you're dallying again. Like, you know that Ollie Watkins would come to Newcastle United because you have Champions League football. And Ollie Watkins has been disrespected at Aston Villa for what he's done for them as well. That's an easy option to make. But you're haggling with Visser, who's older than Watkins. Go and get Ollie Watkins. Throw 80 million at him. It's a done deal. There's so many forwards out there that you could go and prize because guess what? You are in the pecking order. You're ahead of Crystal Palace. You can go and take their forwards. You know, there's forwards available all over Europe. Go and get some business done. Go and sort out your striker problem because Anthony Gordon isn't going to solve it. Anthony Gordon's not going to solve your striker problem because you need a recognised number 9. And this is the problem. This is the problem. So what we're going to look at now is we're going to look at the reason why Isaac went to Newcastle for a start, okay? And we know the reason why Isaac went to Newcastle is because Liverpool went for Nunes, and that was because of Jurgen. And we know that, okay? And I'm not going to go down that road again, and there's no point talking about it, okay? There's no point talking about it. That ship has sailed, okay? Isaac went to Newcastle, became a superstar, scored bags of goals. We got Nunes. He was an utter flop, missed bags of chances, and now we've sold him. Okay, that's done. He's gone. He's gone to Saudi Arabia. Okay, we lost 25 million on him. It is what it is. Yeah, but Isaac chose Newcastle, and he chose Newcastle for various reasons. Because they were the only club that was interested in him at the time. There was us and Liverpool. There was him and there was Newcastle and Liverpool. I just want to do a big shout out to Jen. Big up, Jen. Thank you so much for the memberships. Really appreciate it. Thanks, Jen. Really appreciate it. Thank you so much. And there was a big influence in Isaac making that decision. And it was someone that he looks up to. And it was Zlatan Ibrahimovic. Isaac called me. He calls him Ali. That's his nickname for him. Ali called me when Newcastle were interested and told me they were sleeping giants and he could be one to wake them. He has the heart of a lion. Soon they won't talk about Zlatan and Henrik as the greatest Swedes, but Isaac instead. Okay. So this is one thing that I wanted to mention. So Alexander Isak looks up to Zlatan Ibrahimovic. Okay, that's his idol. Okay, that's his idol, and he mirrored his game on him, a lot. And Zlatan's a unicorn as well. He can do absolutely everything. He can dribble. He can score. He's got the whole repertoire of skill sets, and he's done it all over the world. And he's a legend, absolute legend, Zlatan. Even when he went to Manchester United and they were shit, he was brilliant. Make no bones about it. He was like 38 at the time as well. He asked his friend on a decision of whether he should go to Newcastle. And he went to Newcastle to turn them from a sleeping giant and wake them up. Has he woke Newcastle up from the sleeping giants? As a club? Absolutely. Absolutely on the pitch. He went to Newcastle and got them into the Champions League in his first season. Okay? They got promoted from the Championship to the Premier League and signed Isaac and then ended up in the Champions League the next year. That is how much of an impact he was. Okay? That's just a fact. All right? That is just a fact. That's what he did. He got them into the Champions League. The next season, they finished 8th. They had a horrible season. They also didn't do well in the Champions League because they didn't buy enough players. And they had to play Alexander Isak all the time. And he got injured. Okay? The next season, they didn't sign anyone. Didn't sign any players the next season because they had an embargo, because they spent all their money the previous season because of the director of football that they had in Ashworth. So they made mistakes and they had to sell 2 of their star prospects in Minter and the other lad who I keep on forgetting, the Scottish lad. I keep on forgetting his name. But they had to sell those 2 players. The season after, which is the season just gone, they won their first trophy in 60 years. And they also got back into the Champions League. Alexander Isak's done his job. Like, as Zlatan said, they were sleeping and now they're awake. They've been in the Champions League two times in 3 years. That's because they have a star striker at the club. But this is the problem, and this is where this stems back to. Yeah. Let me just see if I've got this. Where is it? Get rid of that. So this is where it stems back to. Okay. It stems back to the fact that I've got so many things up. Sorry. Where does this go back to? Okay, it's here. Right, let me just share the screen. I've got to share a screen. Sorry. It's TT. Right. It's this one. Okay. So Alexander Isak made exit desire clear a year ago. So this isn't this year. This is last year. Okay. In his mind, he also let Newcastle know about his intentions as long as a year ago, when they said to him there would be no new contract because of the attempts to comply with PSR, and also the fact that he earns so much already. And at that point, he was still under contract for more than 4 years. Not 3 years, 4 years, because this happened a year ago. Okay? People around Newcastle I speak to deny that. I've got to be clear, they say it's not true. He was always open in our mind to talking about this at the end of the season and maybe even signing a new contract. It's not true. It's not true. He asked for a new contract 2 years ago. Sorry, a year ago, not 2 years ago, a year ago. And he was refused. Okay? It was then the fact that once he was refused a new contract by Paul Mitchell, this guy was then given a new contract. And this is what I also wanted to show you. Anthony Gordon signed a new long-term contract with Newcastle United on the 22nd of October 2024. That's last year. He was given a new contract after Alexander Isak was refused one. Just let that sink in, okay? Just let that one simmer, because nobody is talking about the real reason why Isak wanted to leave in the first place, okay? So let's just break this down again, yeah? Your main striker you sign on a 6-year deal, he does Champions League in the first year, hits a 19-goal season, or was it 21 goals? 19 goals or 21 goal season the second year. Sorry, he scored 27 goals in total the second year, yeah? So he then hits a 27-goal season the second year. He then comes to you and says, look, got you in the Champions League. You're on par to get in the Champions League again. They finished 8th, remember? Yeah. So they're already into that season. Yeah, he's already done 2 years with them and says, I'd like to discuss new deals on my new deal on a contract. No, we're not. We're not signing you on. We're not giving you any increase. We're not going to renew. We're not going to look at any changes. You've already got plenty of time left, and we have PSR constraints. And this is the one. This is the one that everybody's glossing over. We have PSR constraints, which means we can't look at new contracts. What happens a couple of months later? Anthony Gordon gets a bumper new contract. But you said you had PSR constraints. Like, how can you give Anthony Gordon a new deal when you're not giving me a new deal and I've just scored you 27 goals and got you into the Champions League? Like, and I'm also lower paid than most of the other players. He was on 120 grand. There's about seven players that have got more, that are earning more money than him. How does that make you feel as an individual? How would that make you feel as a player to know that you've been lied to? You've been lied to. We've got PSR constraints, but we'll give Anthony Gordon a new contract. And he can go from 3 million a year to nearly 7. That's a lie. And that's where it all started. All of this other stuff about ambition and all of these other things, we can talk about that. But this is where it all started. It started with a lie. It started with, we can't do it because of something, and then they do it anyway, but with another player. And this is where it all began. And this is why what he wrote in the post talking about broken promises is where this comes from. And I know we know about, well, he spoke to Eddie Howe here, he spoke to Eddie Howe there, he spoke to Director of Football here. We know this goes all the way back a couple of times. This year, the promises were broken in 2024. They were broken early in 2024 when he was told he couldn't have a new deal because of PSR constraints. And then Anthony Gordon got a new deal. And that's where the promises were broken. And it just continued from there. It continued from there. Okay, so let me just break this bit down. Yeah. So it got very messy. It's clearly emotional. What is it? Okay, so let me go further back. Let me go further back to this. Okay, so, right. Okay, so let's read the post from Alexander Isak. Okay, because the post explains quite a lot. Okay, the post explains quite a lot, and then we can dissect more. Okay, so this is the post. Okay, I'm proud to be recognised by my fellow professionals with a place in the PFA Premier League team of the season. Okay, it's irrelevant to the promises. Okay. First and foremost, I want to thank my teammates and everyone at Newcastle United who has supported me along the way. That doesn't sound like someone who's a trouble causer. That doesn't sound like someone who's disrespecting the club. That sounds like someone who's, thanking the players. Not thanking the club, he's thanking the players. Yeah? Everyone at Newcastle United who has supported me along the way. I'm not at the ceremony tonight with everything going on. It didn't feel right to be there. It would have taken a lot of shine off Mo Salah winning the award if Isaac would have been there. It really would have. So it was best for all that he didn't attend, if I'm honest. I've kept quiet for a long time. Hang on a minute. How would you perceive a long time? Because didn't this all supposed to have been started in July? So July to August, that doesn't seem like a long time. A long time seems like a year, maybe 8 months. A long time doesn't feel like a month. I would call a long time a year, if I'm completely honest. Like, and this is the wording. I've kept quiet for a long time while others have spoken. Well, he hasn't spoken. He hasn't said a word. Everybody else has been speaking. Alexander Isak's agent hasn't spoken. Like, he's not been on social media. He's not been talking about it. Nothing at all. No one from his representatives have said a word. Everything has come from Newcastle and from the media and from pundits and channels and whatever. Nothing has come from Isak's agent, his representatives, or him until now. Until now. And the fact that he says, I have kept quiet for a long time while others have spoken, that silence has allowed people to push their own version of events. Well, guess what? We know the events because David Ornstein told us about them. David Ornstein told us about the events because he broke the story that Alexander Isak never wants to play for Newcastle again. He broke the story in The Athletic. Why? Why would he break that story in The Athletic? Because that was given to him. That was given to him by Alexander Isak's representatives. Because enough is enough. And this has been going on for a long time, just like he's wrote in his own post. The silence has allowed people to push their own version of events, even though they know it doesn't reflect what was really said and agreed behind closed doors. We all know what was agreed behind closed doors because Eddie Howe has now come out and said, yes, I spoke to Alexander Isak and he told me he was going to leave. It still hasn't been told what Newcastle said. And what Newcastle said, it seems pretty obvious, is you need to give us time to sign a replacement for you. And by the looks of it, he was told that if a bid for over 100 million came in, he would be allowed to leave. That's interesting because Liverpool bid over 100 million. The reality is that promises were made and the club has known my position for a long time, and we know that is true now. That has been confirmed by Eddie Howe, and it's also been confirmed by the Daily Mail. And it's also been confirmed by David Ornstein back in March. Back in March, David Ornstein was talking about Alexander Isak will be the biggest story of the summer and he will leave Newcastle. He said it in an interview back in March. Go and look for it. I don't need to play it for you again. All of this will come out in the washing, and of course it will. Of course it will. To now act as if those issues are only emerging is misleading. Liars. Blatant, stone cold faced liars. That's what they are. That's exactly what they are. And we know that Anthony Gordon was given a new contract just after Alexander Isak was denied a new contract because of PSR issues. Anthony Gordon was given one. He was lied to. He was lied to at the club. When promises are broken and that trust is lost, well, there's the trust lost. Your trust is completely lost when your own director of football lied to you. I can't give you a new deal because of PSR. Oh, but I'm going to give Anthony Gordon one in 2 months' time. That's a broken promise as far as I'm concerned. That's a broken promise. The relationships can't continue. Of course they can't continue. You've been lied to. You've been scapegoated. You've been castigated. You've been shunned. You've been made into this villain. Of course they cannot continue. Of course they could not continue. That's where things are for me right now, and why change is the best interest of everyone, not just myself. As far as I'm concerned, I don't see that being anything but an honest account of what's going on from a player's perspective. I don't see it as anything else. Like, he's not named people. He's not throwing anybody under the bus. He's given a quite frank account of what's going on in his mind and what people kind of need to look at. Like, he doesn't want to be the pantomime villain in this. And that's the problem. He's been made out that he is the pantomime villain. So, shall we have a look at the timeline of events? Okay, so let me break this down to you. Right. So, we will start on July the 15th. Okay, July the 15th. We're now in August the 22nd. Liverpool expressed their interest in Alexander Isak. Okay. Liverpool have registered their interest in signing Alexander Isak, with Arne Slot searching for a new number 9. Newcastle's stance is that they are unwilling to let Isak leave the club. So that happened. That happened on July the 15th. Okay. July the 19th. Alexander Isak misses the Newcastle friendly. Isak is not involved as Newcastle officially begin their pre-season, and they were thrashed 4-0 by Celtic. Eddie Howe said his star man was absent due to transfer speculation linking him away from the club. From Eddie Howe's mouth, it was my decision. He travelled back to Glasgow with us, but I decided to send him home due to the speculation around him. But I'm confident he will be a Newcastle player come the end of the window, Howe added. Right. We're still in July. Okay? We're still in July here. July 22nd. Liverpool have done nothing here, by the way, apart from declared interest. That's it. We've done nothing. Okay? Transfer window's open. We've declared interest. So what? Like, we haven't done anything. July 22nd. Al Hilal, who's owned by PIF, amid intense links with a move to Anfield, Saudi Pro League side Al Hilal are exploring a deal for the forward. Isaac is discussed internally, including with manager Simone Inzaghi, and financial details surrounding a possible deal are gathering, but no formal contact is made from Al Hilal. That was on the 22nd of July. That was all manufactured from Newcastle and PIF. I'm telling you, all of it was manufactured. All of it was manufactured. This. Let me put you on the screen. Sorry. Next days. 23rd of July. 23rd of July. So Al Hilal linked with. So let's just break it all down again. 15th of July, Liverpool declare interest. 15th of July, Liverpool declare interest. 19th of July, Isaac misses friendly. 22nd of July, Al Hilal consider interest in Isaac. 23rd of July, Liverpool beat Newcastle to Hugo Ekitike signing. Liverpool complete the signing of Hugo Ekitike on the 23rd of July. 24th of July, Alexander Isak is left out of the pre-season squad due to a minor injury. This is from Newcastle. Liverpool still haven't done anything apart from declared interest on the 15th of July and then signed our target Ekitike on the 23rd of July. Nothing else. Liverpool aren't involved with anything else. Okay. Our word is not mentioned. We haven't done anything. We haven't announced anything. Not about Isaac. All we did was say we were interested in him on the 15th. Bought Ekitike on the 23rd. Okay. This is all still on the Newcastle side. Okay. 24th of July, Isaac's left out of the pre-season squad. Okay. Because of a minor injury. 33rd of July, Isaac is training and recovering from an injury at his former club, Real Sociedad. August the 1st, Newcastle reject bid for Isaac. 15th of July, declare interest. 1st of August, bid for Isaac. Quite a long distance. And in between that, we signed Ekitike. Okay. Newcastle reject 110 million bid for Isaac, well below their asking fee of 150 million. The 15th of July, Newcastle said that he was not for sale at any price. That's what they said, the 15th of July. The 1st of August, 150 million is the valuation. That doesn't mean a player's not for sale. That doesn't mean a player's not for sale. Okay? Telling Liverpool that he's not for sale at any price is what you should have done in the 1st of July. It's as simple as that. It's really as simple as that, but you didn't do it. Liverpool are not planning a second bid for the striker after the nature of Newcastle's rejection meant the club felt as though a second bid would be pointless. This is the 1st of August. 2nd of August, Newcastle make a bid for Benjamin Sesko. Not making this up. Everything happened a day later. It's weird, okay? So Newcastle turned down 110 million from Liverpool, and then the next day they then bid 65 million for Benjamin Sesko. August the 2nd. August the 4th, Isaac returns to Newcastle training. Isaac returns to Newcastle training after missing the side's pre-season tour and training at Real Sociedad to rehab a thigh injury. He is told by Newcastle to train separately on his own. He's told by Newcastle. He didn't do it by himself. He was told by Newcastle. Everybody seems to forget all of these facts. Like, you don't think he was allowed to go and train with Real Sociedad? He would have asked to do it, and they agreed because there was nobody in Newcastle. Every single player, every man and his dog was on the Asian tour. As soon as they came back, guess who went back to training? Alexander Isak. Is that what a player who is a bad person, who was doing so many things to disrespect your club, would do? Would go back into training? No, he wouldn't. He'd go on strike and he wouldn't come back to the club ever. But he did. He came back and you told him to go and train by himself. You did that. Isak didn't do that. You did it. That's on the 4th of August. 5th of August, Newcastle make a second bid for Benjamin Sesko. Okay, so Isak's back now in training. Newcastle are going gung-ho to get Benjamin Sesko. 5th of August, Manchester United beat Newcastle to the signing of Benjamin Sesko. Okay, 8th of August, Eddie Howe, speaking after Newcastle's pre-season draw with Espanyol at St James's Park, made it clear that he wants Isak back in the fold. Quotes from Eddie Howe: "I'd want Isak to be playing today. I'd want him training tomorrow. We would love the player to be with us. Let me make that absolutely clear. There's no part of me that doesn't want that outcome." You've sent the guy to train on his own. You did that. You did that. How do you expect him to be integrated into the team if you've sent him to train by himself? So you're lying. You're lying to the press to make it look like he's the one that's doing it, when it's not. You're the one that sent him to train on his own. You are the club that have castigated him out on his own. Okay, you did that. Don't spin it to make it look like, oh, I'd love him to play, when that's not true. 16th of August, Isak misses the Premier League opener. Newcastle fail to score. 19th of August, okay, we've gone from the 15th of July, which is the first confirmation that Liverpool are interested in Isak. The 1st of August, we made a bid, got rejected. We're now at the 19th of August, and Isak misses the PFA award ceremony. Okay? And then the 19th of August, Isak breaks his silence and releases the social media post. And then the 19th of August is when Newcastle reply to that post, which is what I'm going to talk about now. Okay? As explained, Newcastle released a statement saying that they would welcome Isak back into the squad, that he remains unavailable for transfer. We are clear in response that Isak remains under contract and that no commitment has ever been made by the club official that Alex can leave Newcastle United this summer. As explained to Alex and his representatives, we must always take into consideration the best interests of Newcastle United and the team and our supporters in all decisions, and we have been clear that the conditions of the sale this summer have not transpired. We do not foresee those conditions being met. This is a proud football club with proud traditions, and we strive to to retain our family feel by lying. Alec remains part of the family and will be welcomed back when he is ready to join his teammates. When he is ready is bullshit. He's been told to train on his own. You're lying in your own statement. You've lied in your own statement about 4 times. You've spoken to his representatives, and his representatives have told you he's leaving. His representatives have been told by you that if a £100 million offer was made, he would be allowed to go. His representatives have been told that if you signed a new striker to replace him, he will be allowed to go. You are lying through your teeth to basically make face, to save face. This is everything that happens with Saudi Arabians and Middle Easterns. It's all about saving face. All of it is about saving face. It's about not looking like you're the bad people, because they can't look like that. And to turn around and lie and lie and lie, and that's what you've done. You've been doing it for a year to Isaac. Like, God knows how many times you've been doing it to your fans. Like, seriously? For me, it's toxic. He is never going to play for that club again. And let's talk about the potential deal. Okay? So, after the social media post, Liverpool remain interested in signing Isaac and could come back with a second bid after their first proposal worth 110 million was rejected. While there is no doubt that Isaac would add more firepower to the strength of the Liverpool forward line, I think the Reds should pivot and look at other alternatives. Where is it? Where is it? Hang on, I've got the wrong post up. Sorry. Okay, so let's look at the Eddie Howe comment. Okay, let's look at the Eddie Howe comment. Sorry, I brought up the wrong page. Started reading it. So let's look at the Eddie Howe comment. Eddie Howe responds to claims Alexander Isak asked me to leave Newcastle months ago. Trust me. Okay. Eddie Howe says Alexander Isak's future was the last thing on his mind when Newcastle United qualified for the Champions League a few months ago. Newcastle felt qualifying for the Champions League was enough to keep Isak. That's just a lie. That's just a lie. That's just a lie. You're just making shit up. Like, we got in the Champions League, so why? So he's going to stay. No, he's not, because he told you he wanted to leave. He didn't tell you he wanted to stay. Like, he never told you he wanted to stay. He told you he wanted to leave. So for you to then go, because we got Champions League, his mind's been changed. No, his mind hadn't been changed because he told you. He literally told you face to face. Despite his wishes to go, Newcastle continue to insist Isak isn't for sale. It had been claimed that Isak told Newcastle he wanted to leave the club last season, but Howe's comment would appear to suggest that this isn't the case. Liar. Speaking after Saturday's draw with Aston Villa, revealed what he thought about it. Eddie Howe responds, according to the Chronicle, Howe has effectively dismissed claims that Isak had asked to leave Newcastle months ago. Indeed, in March, Isak told Swedish media that he was happy at Newcastle. Obviously, players can say things to the media to only appease supporters at the time, and Howe's comments would suggest he knew all what was coming. When asked at those reports, Howe said, "Trust me, when the final whistle went, that Isaac leaving was the furthest thing from my mind. It was just a feeling of relief because we were hunting that prize all season. We were in and around it." Hang on, where is it? Where is it? During Edwards revealed, he strenuously denied. He also added that the only talks took place between Isaac's agent and the club was centered around. Where is it? Where is it? Okay, I've also got this one as well. Where is it? I mean, this one I can't actually bring up, but I think if you pay for it, it's probably worth it. But this is from the Tompkins Times, which is good as well. The latest unhinged reaction from Newcastle writing brigade is that Alexander Isak's statement has set fire to Newcastle, drawing fury but little sign of success. Last week it was Luke Saudi mouthpiece Edwards saying that Isak had behaved despicably, a level of description that goes beyond anything I've ever seen from a club, indirectly or otherwise. Last night Isak revealed a simple, dignified statement talking about broken promises and that when trust is broken, a relationship is over. Instead, The Athletic, which is a mix of talented writers, as it seems, the insane, has this from George Colkin. Isak has shown Newcastle, his teammates, staff and fans what he thinks of that door, the one Howe has kept open, slamming it in Howe's face and setting fire to the entire building. I know it's just a metaphor, but a Liverpool player has just burned to death in a car. Even without that, it's a metaphor that turns the volume up to 11. The undertow of the extreme hatred and violence he doesn't just want to leave, he wants to burn us all to the ground, from what was measured statement of the player's part. He's not burning your club down, he's a footballer. Yes, we all love football and get a bit crazy, but this kind of rhetoric is unhinged. Yet no accusations, barely a mention from those people about Johan Visser. Visser is not despicable. Visser is not setting fire to Brentford. At least I haven't seen a Geordie beat writers write that memo spouting their outrage. Thankfully, Newcastle would never let such a player, nor a league player, to such lengths they have shown like that. And the principal is Anthony Gordon never went on strike at Everton to force through a move to Newcastle. Well, he did. He absolutely did go on strike. Amanda Staveley was said to have made promises to Isak in 2023-24 before she was suddenly forced out by a hostile takeover. But Newcastle journalists discussing this have left this out. So you know the post-truth world that they live in, where they cannot even differentiate between hostile oustings of someone far richer and leaving. Staveley left in the way that Pete Best left the Beatles. Eddie Howe, who knew before last season started, who said to have been told again after the cup final and again before the end of last season by Isak that he intended to leave. At times, Howe seemed to be the only one who understood how football works and mentioned the human element and careers being short. The new contract Isak was proposed disappeared with Staveley, and as she represented the club, it seems Isak took it badly when Paul Mitchell, a new guy since departed, reneged, as you would. I think that would upset most employees in any walk of life. including Newcastle, smear campaign from local journalists, perhaps fomented by Newcastle United themselves, is hardly going to keep the supposed friendly door open. I've noted all summer Liverpool have lost innumerable amount of players where clubs of the higher food chain in the last 20 years. Real Madrid, Chelsea, Man City, Barcelona, Bayern have all took our players. Also, 2009, Xabi Alonso, Javi Mascherano, Fernando Torres, Raheem Sterling, Emre Can, Philip Coutinho, Mane to Bayern, Alexander-Arnold to Real Madrid. The list goes on. Right now, only Real Madrid are clearly higher than Liverpool in the food chain. Which he did, bar a surprise, a small late. Oh, hang on, that's talking about Trent. Where is it? Postscript. As this gets even nastier, which took some doing, some bloke called Oliver Brown. Okay, I told you about Oliver Brown. I told you about Oliver Brown. I told you about that. Now that Isak is in the Instagram meltdown stage, Newcastle fans can be forgiven if, after a pattern of behaviour so wretched that he is described as one greedy bastard, they struggle to accept his word as gospel. In the end, there is just one concrete piece of evidence illustrating Isak's situation, and that is a 6-year contract he is seeking to break after 3. If Isak's Instagram post was a meltdown, then things must be pretty dramatic. The writer added, so wretched, to the list of overly emotive reactions, but given that Visser is doing the same thing, I assume that if he signs for Newcastle, they'll sing one greedy bastard at him, and also to Anthony Gordon for going on strike to get his move from Everton. I can't be bothered. I really can't be bothered anymore. Like I've kind of just lost. I've lost my mojo to speak about it now. I think looking into it and reading about it all just now has just made me. It's just made me more angry and tired about it now. It just has. Like I don't. I've just lost. I've lost my desire to talk about it now. But there's a lot of rumours now. Let me just share some stuff with you quickly. So there's a lot of rumours now that around Article 17, next year we could possibly leave on a free and break his contract. Read into that what you will. More information around Eddie Howe has confirmed that Isak will not feature for the game on Monday. He said, my preference is it doesn't play out publicly. Everything is behind closed doors, but needs must. The club has spoken, and probably justifiably. Alex is contracted to us. Keep on saying this contract shit. Like, means nothing now. So he won't play, which will help us, by the way. So that'll help us. I think that's the same thing. Newcastle knew coming out of the season that Alexander Isak wanted to go. It is why they have pushed for Pedro, Delap, Ekitike, Sesko, players who may have facilitated Isak's sale. So this is Craig Hope now. Everybody knows now that Newcastle was full of shit and they've been lying through their teeth, basically. And it's all going to come out now. Me and Alex had conversations towards the end of the season. Yes, I am not going to sit here and deny that. Yes, we had discussions about his future. I mean, Eddie Howe's now come out and said it. but it was behind closed doors and he can't discuss what it was about. We fucking know what it was what it was about. It was about him being fucking sold, you prick. Interesting that Joelington is now liking posts that are basically slating Isaac. So we know where some of his players stand on this now. It's all been turned. He's never going to play for them again. What else have I got for you? I've got more stuff here. 2 seconds. This is from Craig Hope again. A deal starting somewhere around 130 million for Isaac, perhaps plus add-ons, could have been enough to generate movements. Isaac to Liverpool isn't over. It definitely isn't over. LFC saying they aren't coming back for the striker is total nonsense. They hadn't come this far. They hadn't given up. They haven't given Isaac that encouragement to behave like the way he did without coming back for more. It's 138 million. The rumours. They're the rumours. It's 138 million. It's a huge amount of money, but we ain't leaving him behind. We are not leaving him behind now. And obviously, Eddie Howe, it looks like it's coming to an end, or it will come to an end pretty quickly. Yes, it will. After we smash you at your ground, you fucking plebs, and take your best player off you. And then you've also got Steve Parish coming out saying everyone has to sell players to comply with the rules. Guehi, maybe we get Guehi done before the game on Monday. Maybe we get that one done. And I also wanted to bring this one up as well because Marseille are about to make about 20 million on Jonathan Rowe going to Bologna, which means they're going to have cash, and they are looking at Kostas Tsimikas. So they're going to have a bit of cash. Kumas has decided to join Birmingham City on loan, so he's going. We're not going to get any money for him, but he's going on loan. Rumours are that Wataru Endo has handed each teammate a pair of gum shields for the game, because Liverpool are going to smash Newcastle. They're going to smash Newcastle, I'm telling you. And the Rodrigo stuff just isn't going away. Is not going away. Rumours are that Rodrigo is the Luis Diaz replacement. So let's see what happens with that one. This one's brilliant as well from Virgil van Dijk. It's like a brotherhood. Liverpool building a family. Brilliant stuff. Also, Rodrigo's potential move. Rodrigo's asked Alisson for advice over the Liverpool move, allegedly. Ali could be helping us get Rodrigo. Also, the player has asked for advice. That's from Indy Cala. Indy's been bang on with so much stuff, by the way. Pretty scary, actually. Indy's been absolutely bang on with so much stuff. Ben Jacobs, by the way, put this little caveat on the end. Yes, we had discussions about his future. That's what Ben Jacobs has put. That's a little bit more information. It's a little bit more information than, oh, well, we just had a conversation about him going on holiday. No, we had discussions about his future because he wanted to leave you. Yes. Also wanted to bring this one up as well. Liverpool have done what we wanted, and we have speed in the team now. Look at all the speed merchants. Frimpong, Ekatike, Verts. They're the top speed merchants. Frimpong's the fastest player in the Premier League now, by the way. Interesting. Also from Lee Ryder. Yep, that Lee Ryder, the one who was basically being a scumbag. Eddie Howe confirms he had conversations with Alexander Isak before the end of the season, but says those discussions must remain private. I wonder why. I wonder why they remain private. Because you don't want to make yourself look like a lying fucktard. That's why. Because you don't want to make yourself sound like a lying fucker. Because you are. Anyway. That's the truth. That's the truth. I've given you an hour and 15 minutes of the truth. Okay. Hope you've enjoyed the show. Big up Jen for the memberships. Have I missed out any super chats? No, I haven't, because I don't get super chats on here anymore for some reason. But there you go. I hope you enjoyed the facts. If you could like and subscribe, that would be amazing. Rodrigo's definitely not gone quiet. That's definitely not gone quiet. So that's where we are. That's the timeline. Go and look into it yourself. I would love to play this video for you, which is from NBC, which has got David Ornstein breaking down everything about the Isak situation. But I know that I'll get copywritten, so I can't. That's pretty much it. I will share this though, because I thought this was interesting, because this never accumulated to anything in the end. But it might have, but we just don't know. This was from Florian Plettenberg. Talks between Newcastle United and Liverpool over Alexander Isak are progressing well. The players' camp are very positive about the situation. Isak is hopeful for an agreement. A verbal agreement, in principle, over a contract running until 2031 has been reached with Liverpool, as reported yesterday. What's happened to all of this? What's happened to all of this? I know. You couldn't sign a fucking striker. That's what's happened to all of this. You haven't been able to sort your own shithouse out. Once you get your striker and sort your own shit out, then we'll go and take your best player. But you know what we're going to do on Monday? We are going to fucking murder you at your ground. We are going to score relentlessly at your ground. We are going to make you look like a small club, because you are. And then we're going to take your star striker that we've unsettled so much that doesn't even want to play for you anymore. Line up in the food chain, because we're coming to eat you. Anyway, I'm out of here. All right, let me pass you on to another show. Bear with me. Who is live right now? I'm going to send you over to Quasi Bold, because I haven't done that for a while. So go and put in KMAT Raid. Go and put in KMAT Raid, and I'll send you over to Quasi Bold. You have a lovely evening. I'm not going to be doing a show tomorrow, but I'll do a preview for the game on Monday, on Sunday, and then I've got my conspiracies and rabbit holes. Thank you so much for all the members. I'm nearly at 400 again, because you dropped off, but we'll get back up again. And I appreciate everyone that's liking, subscribing my videos. Remember to put the notification bell on. And I will see you all on Sunday, and put in KMAT Raid to Quasi Bold. You all have a lovely weekend. Isaac will be a red.